Hello and welcome back to another Amber Roots devlog. It's been a while since my last YouTube update, but I've been working away and I'm really excited to show what I've been doing. I've been importing some of the functionality from the 2D version of Amber Roots. I got the UI system working now, and so far I've implemented the game menu and the inventory screen. This block over here is just for testing, but in the game menu I have a resume button and equip button which both work. In the inventory screen, I have a functional inventory, and the inventory stuff has been imported partially. I don't have all of the functions that I had in the 2D version imported yet. I'm missing things like the sort function and things like that, but that will get moved over in time. I also had to import a lot of things like item data to work with the inventory system, but it's all working really well now. I've also implemented controller support, which I think is super exciting. I really want to make sure that everybody can play the game the way that they want to. And I did this using Unity's new input system. This was actually my first time using it, and it's really easy to work with. It seems really flexible, and once you get the hang of it, it's pretty easy to use. Overall, I'm really happy with the result. I've also been experimenting a bit with the environment. I created a new test area to run around in and explore, as well as creating new pieces of art like this new grass texture and these mushrooms. I also got a new rock texture, and we'll be talking more about this rock in a bit, but creating a new environment like this from scratch was a lot of fun. I put a little bit more thought into it than the last environment where I was just testing out the 3D, and though it's by no means done, I think it's a good start. When I was creating this really small test environment, I was trying to imagine what the areas in between the larger areas that you'd explore would look like. I was thinking a lot about the routes from Pokemon as an inspiration for this. Basically roads and paths that would lead between areas. But I really want to emphasize the lack of linearity in Amber Roots. I don't just want routes that go from point A to point B. Instead, I want multiple paths and more of a crossroads feel, where going in one direction would take you somewhere totally different than the other direction you could have chosen. Okay, so now let me show you something else new that I've made. I've implemented a way for the player to take control of one of their monsters. And right now, this is just a couple of monsters that I've picked out. And this is because I haven't imported the system of keeping track of your tamed monsters yet. But in the future, you'll be able to turn into any of your tamed monsters. Once you do that, you'll be able to run around as your monster. Different monsters will have different characteristics. For example, some might be faster than others. Switching control to your monsters will also be the main way that you'll interact with the environment. For example, assuming you've got the right abilities on the right monster, you'll be able to gather materials. So where in some games you might need to upgrade your axe or your pickaxe, in Amber Roots you'll just be upgrading your monster's abilities. And they'll be doing the gathering for you. This also means that the monster can interact with the environment in other ways. For example, if we come back to these rocks over here, having a monster with the right ability will mean that you'll be able to break these rocks and see what's beyond them. So in this case, the rocks act not just as a gatherable, but also as an obstacle. And here they were hiding a treasure chest that hasn't been fully implemented into the game yet. As I mentioned earlier, I'm still in the process of importing the inventory system, and that includes containers. But I'm really excited about what all this means. I love the idea of hiding secrets away in different locations that you need a specific monster ability to get to. This is reminiscent of needing HMs in Pokemon, or if you've played Monster Sanctuary, where it works a little bit like a Metroidvania, it's a little bit like that, where you might see something near the beginning of the game and not be able to access it, but in the future you can come back with new abilities and new skills, and you might find new treasure or a shortcut to somewhere, or even a hidden area. I think that kind of stuff can be a lot of fun, so I'm really excited about implementing that into the different areas that I create. I had a really good time creating this environment. And it's pretty small, and like I said, it's not done by any means, but I'm really excited to continue to expand upon this and start creating more areas like this. Another thing I've been experimenting with here is Screen Space Ambient Occlusion, also known as SSAO. Unity has just so many really cool features that I can use with the Universal Render Pipeline. So I can turn this on and off and you can see the difference that it makes. It just adds so much more depth to the shadows, and of course it can be tweaked, and the values can get pretty extreme. So I'm still toying around with it, trying to get the best possible look for the game, but let me know what you think in the comments. I definitely think that having it on is a big improvement. One other thing I wanted to talk about in this video is why I'm still working on new features when there's still so much stuff that I need to import from the 2D version of the game. Well, I started importing some stuff. I've got a little bit of the UI working, I've got part of the inventory system working, and obviously I've got the monster AI roaming around, even though I had to convert that to 3D. There are also some other basic things that I imported, like player controller and things like that. But as I was doing this stuff, I thought maybe it was a good idea to break up the work a bit. Rather than spending the next few months importing everything over from the 2D version, I decided that at the same time I would also start working on some new features that I'm excited about. And I'm doing this for multiple reasons. The primary reason is just to keep my sanity. I think doing nothing other than importing old features and making sure they work in the new version of the game would be pretty boring. I also don't think it would be super entertaining to watch in these devlogs. Another reason is that some things need to be changed over. Some things simply don't translate well to 3D. Also, as I've been narrowing my vision of the game, some things just don't make any sense anymore. So I'm trying to be really picky about what systems I actually need that I had kind of half implemented in the 2D version. So basically, there are still a ton of systems that I need to import over. But I've also decided to work on some new systems as well. It just makes the process much easier. So I'm hoping that moving forward, each devlog will be a combination of elements. Stuff that I've imported over from the 2D version, and some new stuff that I put together. I'm still really excited about this 3D change for Amber Roots. I feel like the game is so much more fun to explore right now, and I'm really excited to bring over some of the systems that I haven't yet. And before wrapping up, I also want to mention, if you're not following me on Twitter, I strongly recommend it. It's much faster and easier for me to just throw out a tweet with some images or videos of what I've been doing lately than it is to put together one of these videos, so I tend to do that a lot more often. So if you're interested in getting the latest news and info about Amber Roots, I really recommend you following me on Twitter. And there's always a link down in the description of the videos. That's going to wrap it up for this video. If you liked it, hit the like button and subscribe to see more of Amber Roots. And as always, thank you for watching.